Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of March 28th. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we continued with our 2 TV series watches, As We See It, which came to the end of season 1, and The Gilded Age. So as we see it, the episode was titled, Please Don't Leave. And of course, at the very beginning, I was afraid that the person leaving was going to be Jack's dad, but no, it was a dream. They keep doing that to us, you know?
Yeah.
And then, is it going to be Mandy leaving? We don't really know quite.
Is it going to be Violet being
leaving?
Sent to the Grayson Center?
Going to be Harrison saying to his selfish parents who are moving to freaking Montana, leaving. But it
was kind of all of those things.
It was kind of all of those things. Yes.
Yeah.
Although Harrison did actually say those words to Mandy towards the end.
Yes.
But the first thing that came to mind, the first thing on my notes for this, because it started the episode and ended the episode, I thought we had a moratorium on Hallelujah being used for cheap emotion in sitcoms and other forms of entertainment. I thought there was a moratorium. Can we reinstate it? It's a beautiful song. I find it very lovely and meaningful. And I don't want it slapped on every time they need, well, as you know, Jack was trying to learn how to cry in the episode.
Right.
And the producer saying, this is how you learn how to cry. Just play this song. Everybody will be all emotional. It'll be great. Stop it. I fear that song is completely ruined from overuse, and that is too bad.
There were at least 2, I believe, figure skating programs to it at the Olympics.
I'll bet.
Yep. It can take a break.
Please stop. Please just stop. Give it a rest.
Yes.
And then we can start enjoying it as a song again and not as a cue. Anyway, so the main, well, in this episode, let's see, we had Van taking Violet to the facility he would like her to stay at, which, big surprise, she was not pleased with. Although, actually, did they have room for, look pretty pleasant. Look how fun. There were horses.
You want to go there and hang out with the horses.
I want to go hang out, paint some paintings, and, probably they have lessons in things. Yeah, she's not buying it. And Jack's dad is trying to prepare him for the time when Jack's dad will no longer be around, not because he's going to Montana, but because he's going up to the big Montana in the sky.
Right.
And that just hit really close to home for me, because this exactly what he was saying, that here, I want you to meet this accountant because he'll help you with money,
right,
pay your bills and figure out how to manage money and all that stuff. It's exactly the same conversation I had with my husband about our kids, just like in the past week. Just exactly the same things Jack's dad was saying, So it's just like, well,
yeah.
I plan to be around a little longer than Joe Montana, but I guess that's what parents, when they get to this age, parents of kids with disabilities, start to think.
Right.
You want them to be okay. You want them to be able to live and have a life and not have to worry about things or learn how to do things. And you don't want to have to sit down and teach them right now because, oh my gosh, would that be something? But so Jack decides that the way out of this dilemma is to, marry his Iwatomi. And she is very sweet with him.
Yes.
And so that's his plan. And he's, researching how to cry and how to make a proposal and how to do all this stuff. And Harrison has decided he is leaving the apartment. He is going to go back and live at home. Oh, baby. And he's mad at Mandy. He's not talking to her.
And of course, he has no idea that his home is about to be sold out from under him because his parents are moving to Montana.
Yes. So all the stage is set, in other words, for the graduation party, towards which we have been rolling all season.
Right.
This would be the graduation party for Harrison's sister, apparently at Harrison's home, although it could just as well have been in a hall somewhere. But have you ever been to a graduation party where you bring a date?
No.
I was kind of wondering how all our roommates brought, well, Harrison didn't.
Didn't.
Violet brought Douglas, and
but she also brought Van. Well, or Van was invited, I guess.
Van was invited.
He's sort of a family friend.
Yeah. And
but Jack brought Iwatomi. Yeah.
And Mandy came because even though Harrison disinvited her, he was not the one who invited her in the first place. So she still went.
Right.
And it didn't go too well. The best of the didn't go too wells was that Jack proposed and Iwatomi said, I'm going back to Nigeria. But I'll have sex with you first, basically.
Right.
She said it a little nicer than that. So, all in all.
And she didn't say she was staying there forever. For sure.
She might be coming back.
She might come back. Oh, boy.
But in the meantime.
Yes.
Anyway.
She did let him down easily.
Make your
handled it pretty
here.
Well.
Yeah.
He didn't. Well, because I guess he had the consolation prize coming to him.
Right. And we did see him going to her house. So you go, Jack. Life experience. Was that on your goal sheet? Are you going to talk it over with Mandy later?
Will that be in the group meeting?
That's right.
I mean, Violet has no problem talking about any of this
stuff.
So.
Yeah. Violet was advising Jack on what to do. Like, don't do it in a pickup.
Like not in a truck. Yeah.
that won't work out well.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that they all talk together about this stuff. I think there wasn't as much of that in the beginning, and I would like there to be more of that. That's what I'm here for.
Right.
But Violet is mad at Van all through the party, and because he wants to get rid of her, and there's lots of sort of a cathartic conversation between them where she thinks that he has all the money from their parents, and he has to tell her that there was no money from their parents, and their parents weren't really as great as she thinks. And then she's mad at him for saying something mean about her mother, and it's just she winds up with her behind a locked door, and him being very sweet based on a conversation he had with Jack's dad, which I will get to. But there was a moment at which Violet said at the party, nobody wants me. And I'm like, Douglas, where's Douglas? Douglas, man, right. this is your moment. And then he came up, he walked up, but she was running off to someplace else.
Right.
But he did, by the end, manage to kiss her, and she was not unhappy about it. So again, although he is completely broke from the Uber, he is psyched.
He also managed to confess that, his independence is a bit of a facade. And, the studio apartment that Violet was so admiring is actually a guest house on his parents' property. And, they take care of all the finances and clean the apartment and whatever. So I think that did kind of help Violet.
Yes.
She's not as envious now, right. Obviously. And she sees that, hey, Douglas, doesn't quite have it as much together as I thought.
Right.
He's more like me.
Yeah, right. So that was a kind of a sweet ending.
Yeah.
Then Mandy confesses to Harrison's parents how she screwed up kissing Van, and Harrison saw it and all of this, and that now she thinks she should resign, which is an honorable thing to do. But of course, Harrison's mother is all, we had these plans and now you're going to ruin them just for your own selfish desire to resign.
Yeah. Like who's calling who selfish at this point?
Oh my goodness. And then Harrison overhears it, of course. And then he's not happy and he runs out into the backyard and he's like having a little,
he's pulling off his suit as he goes. And I think everyone's pretty afraid he's going to end up 100% naked, but he does not.
And he's just very, very, very upset. But Mandy calms him down, and because she's good with him,
Yes.
Calms him down, and he eventually tells her he doesn't want her to leave, which is very sweet. But really, Mandy, I say again.
Well, and then of course Van has to complicate it all at the end of the episode by coming to say to her that when they kissed, it wasn't a mistake.
Yes. Yeah, and she looks like she kind of thinks maybe that's true too.
Right.
Now, so is that actually Mandy's home? Mandy actually has a home?
It looked that way, didn't it?
She doesn't spend a lot of time there.
No, she doesn't.
And Van, I'm surprised Van even knew where it was. Because maybe he put a tracker on her car or something. But
he followed her home.
Yeah. The soap opera plot lines with the neurotypicals, could do without them.
Right.
Really not necessary. I don't know if they feel that that's necessary to rope in an audience who wouldn't just be interested in 3 people on the autism spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that was not the case.
Right.
And there was a couple of things. I mean, just as much as Jack's dad trying to plan for him and find people to be in his life to help him with things rang true to me, there was a couple of things that just went, oof. Pose the way you posed in that photo from preschool, young adults.
Oh my gosh. And they all knew exactly.
They all knew exactly what it was and they did it. They are not babies. What are you doing? Would you do that with your daughter who's just graduating?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you would.
Actually, I do have a friend whose 2 boys do that for her. Like they pose and they recreate, childhood pictures.
Yeah.
But they're brothers doing it for their mother. Like it's
right.
A little bit different.
Just in front of everybody at the party
right.
is just. And then I love Jack's dad. I think he's terrific. And Van needed a pep talk, but the whole, being a parent of a kid like this made me a better person. I'm so glad because it made me stronger. And it just makes the person with a disability like a tool for a typical person to be better.
Right.
We don't do that anymore. So that used to be the inspirational stuff. That stuff doesn't fly so well anymore. People with disabilities really hate it. And I don't want to feel that way about my kid. He says that when Jack was little, he wished that he had a different son, but now he's glad he has. It's just that also seemed like a false note to me. I don't think that's something that Jack's dad would say, at least not to Van.
Yeah.
And so keep sacrificing yourself there, Van. Keep sacrificing. It'll make you a better guy. Is not really what Van needed to hear right now then either, but it does get him into the door with Violet when he says, no, you don't have to go to that place and here's your cell phone back. Try not to set up a date with a psycho killer, will you please?
Right.
Anyway, I just really, really wished they wouldn't go there. I was noticing at the beginning that when the title came up, As We See It, that we was like in a different color. And I thought, wow, do I wish that was true, that it really was As We See It, but it's still at a remove.
Right.
And it still has a lot of sympathy for the people who's have such a terrible, terrible hard time because of these. As much as it loves the 3 roommates, I think it's good to acknowledge that Van's life is challenging, and it's good to acknowledge that Mandy has a hard job, and it's good to acknowledge that maybe, for example, Harrison's parents might have some reasons for not wanting him back at home, but you acknowledge that and then you leave it there.
Right.
I want to spend the time with the roommates because it's really fun when they spend time together, and it's really fun when they have their individual plots and they do their things. I like that. So I don't know if this is coming back for season 2, but I hope that we could have more of that, more of the roommates and less of the neurotypical drama.
Right.
I mean, maybe Van and Mandy should date. Let's go try that. Do that during the time between seasons and then either be married or over it when we come back for season 2.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine if they were married? Oh boy.
If they could be in the apartment all the time.
Oh, she's the only person who can understand him in his life.
Oh my gosh. But we will see. I got to circle back one more time to Harrison's mother because I just really do not like that woman. I'm so upset with her. And I'm glad. I mean, the daughter seemed legitimately ticked.
Right.
At her parents.
Harrison's sister, yeah.
Yes, but not ticked enough.
She said, don't treat him like a little kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you have to tell him these things. Like, when were they planning to drop this little bomb? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was they're all just sort of like going on their merry way. So
yeah, that I mean, I'm sure that there are people like that. I'm not sure how well I buy that, and I don't like it for this story. But boy, is that a thankless role for Paula Marshall. I'm sorry, babe. That's just you're just hateful and awful and terrible, and you know, it's not Mandy's responsibility. It's yours.
Oh, it's yours.
Like, how long did they focus on that picture of Harrison and his sister when they were little kids? Like for about 10 minutes.
Yes. Quite a long time.
Oh, well. I don't know.
She's a lot younger than him. Well, actually, I guess we don't know exactly how old Harrison is, but
yeah,
the other two are like, well, they're all the same age, right? Because they were in preschool together. So they're all 25, 26. And the sister's like 17, 18. That's kind of a big spread.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we're not supposed to ask questions about age on any of this stuff because none of it makes sense. So
they certainly made a big point of telling us how old they are.
They have, and I do not understand that
26. We learned that Van's 29, like just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, I do feel for Van.
Yeah,
but Montana, and maybe he needs to go into that facility. I think he would enjoy just relaxing and
just like you said, you're
taking care of horses, and they probably wouldn't let the calls from Violet come through. You have your phone time between these hours. Oh, right. I don't know. Anyway, be interested to see. I would be happy to return to these characters. I really like all the characters. I like some of the storylines, and I think there's a lot more that could be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in the meantime, they shall be taking a little break.
Right.
We will imagine Violet and Douglas dating. I am so psyched for Douglas. Looks like he's got an in now. He just looks like such a reliable dude.
Sorry, there is noise.
He would not go in the hallway and kiss your aide.
Right. No, he won't.
Oh, well. So, speaking of unreliable dudes.
Yeah.
On the Gilded Age, we watched the episode called Irresistible Change, which included both Mr. Rakes very boldly pressing Marian on the subject of marriage and our love can get us through everything and our love will be strong. Isn't your love strong enough? And I'm thinking, nope, it's not. But she says, oh, yes. So they look like they're speeding right along. But then we also saw Tom Rakes in a carriage with a rich young lady seeming to be quite cozy. Now, awkward that he was in Mrs. Russell could invite him, but not Marian. That was awkward. And
I didn't.
Not his fault, but at the same time.
The directness of, Mrs. Russell just saying, because she and Marian were talking and she was discussing this event where they were going in these carriages and she's like, and I just only wish I had room for you, but I don't.
I'm just going to take your boyfriend. Right. It'll be fine. Had to make room for this other young woman.
Right.
It would be much more appealing to his social climbing eye.
And I don't understand. And this has been mentioned on the recaps at Go Fug Yourself. Like, who is this guy and why does anyone know him and invite him places? You know what I mean? Like, he just showed up. Like, what?
He's got good hair. How
is it that, Mrs. Russell and Aurora Fane and all these people are like, oh, you should come to the opera. You should come in our carriage. You should do this and that. Like, what? Why?
Is there a shortage of attractive young men?
Well, and the thing is,
are they all like Oscar Van Ryn and people just would really rather not?
Right. And I mean, if Agnes doesn't think he's suitable, then does Aurora think he's suitable for anyone she knows? Does Bertha certainly doesn't because he's not old money and he's not rich. I mean, so I don't know how he's getting all these invitations is what I'm saying.
I don't know.
So
That's a very good question. But he is quite the man about town.
He certainly is. He's an adventurer.
Yes, he is. He is, in fact, an adventurer. In this, Agnes was right. She's always right, except every now and then.
Right.
But
and she's still mad at Bannister, her butler, and she is not speaking to him. She is making Ada say everything to him.
So cute.
Tell him to tell Mrs. Bauer.
And he's just, okay, this is what I got to do. And he got paid by from the Russells with a check, which he doesn't have an account to deposit in, but he's just going to keep it in his pocket. Very cute. By the way, on the Gilded Age podcast that HBO is doing, they said that the cook doubles as the housekeeper in the Van Ryn house.
I did hear that and confirmed that that Armstrong is the lady's maid.
Yeah, you are right. That Armstrong is the lady. We were last week trying to figure out if Armstrong is the lady's maid, then who is the housekeeper?
Right.
Do they not have a housekeeper?
They do not.
But they do. They have a cook.
They have a cook
/ housekeeper. She is multitasking. She's an efficient woman when she's not gambling and can do 2 jobs at once. Right. Just as Jack can be both footman and waiter.
That was another adorable scene. That was not in the episode that we're currently discussing.
But no, he was this time.
But it was mentioned.
Agnes was saying, please give Bannister your advice for serving the meal. You did it so much better than he does, and nobody in the room believes that. So it's like, okay, fine. But the delightful outcome of Oscar having been spied with Turner is that Mrs. Van Ryn demands that Mrs. Russell fire her, which what standing do you have to do this exactly? Well, of course, she sends Marian over to do it.
Poor Marian to do it because she's not
kind of ticked that Marian didn't say who it was they saw her with because it mattered, I think.
Well, Bertha figured it out.
Figured it out. I loved that Bertha just knew it. But then now she saw Turner kind of flirting with her son. Bertha did.
I think that's why she decided to go for it. She wasn't going to do it just because Marian asked.
Right.
She wasn't going to do it just because of Agnes. But then when she saw the way Turner was looking at and talking to her son, she was like, nope, we're not having that.
That's right. Well, I assumed that it was just that she saw that. I thought it was just that, as you described, but the Gilded Age, I listened to the first half of the Gilded Age podcast for this episode. I didn't get all the way through it, but they were thinking that maybe she thought her son was the guy that she had been spotted with.
I didn't think so. I thought that she just thought
that she saw.
The seed was planted that Turner, was sort of scheming.
Yes.
And so even though she didn't think her son was the one in question, she was like, he could be if she's
touching his arm in just the same way.
This will not do at all.
If only she knew who else's arm and whatever else she touched. But
and then Turner went and showed up in George's bedroom again.
Yes.
After she had been fired.
Locks on the doors. Have they considered locks on the doors? Although I suppose she would have it.
What did
she makes a pitch again?
Happen?
I would pay all my attention to you, unlike your wife, who is busy social climbing.
Yeah.
Oh, George.
That's pretty desperate.
A faithful
of
man.
You, Turner.
Yeah, it was. I hope that she is gone for good, but she's left a little bit of venom behind, that viper. She has fingered Church as the writer of the note outing the Bannister's treacherous behavior, pretending to be a butler at the Russells, to Mrs. Van Ryn. I wonder if that's actually true or if she just did it again in trouble.
Yeah, because they didn't, we, the audience, don't know for sure who wrote that letter, but you did see Church sort of excuse himself at one point during the luncheon or beforehand. And that, would have been the opportunity for him to do that. So.
You are more observant than I. I would like to think he didn't, because I kind of like him, and that would be a That'd be a squirrely thing to do, but sure enough going to get him in trouble one way or the other. I guess that was her parting shot, to get him in trouble because he never liked her. Honey, nobody liked you.
Yeah, really.
Nobody in that house liked you except maybe Bertha, but none of the help liked you. You could just as well have been torpedoed by the housekeeper or by whatever it is that Michael Cerberus is.
The chef. Oh no, he's like a valet or something.
Okay. Yeah. He didn't like you either. Really, nobody likes you.
Nope.
We're all glad you're gone. We don't like you either.
Nope.
Go away.
Goodbye. Only Oscar liked you because you were of use to him, but now you are not anymore.
Yes. And even better if you're expected to be having an affair with him, because that makes people think he has his affairs with women, which is what he wants. Right. So, he is such a weaselly little dude. George, hide your daughter. So Gladys is finally going to get to come out. Yay, Gladys.
Yay.
She is puzzled as to why, but I guess, well, okay. If you say
she'll take it.
Now is the time. Quick. Before your father goes to jail. And I can still get people in the house.
Well, it's a good thing that she went to that creepy doll tea party, because that's where she became friends with Carrie Astor, and that has made all the difference.
Absolutely. That's what you want. Just what everybody's trying to, but that scene where Bertha was so concerned about how this railroad thing was going to affect her social climbing, and George was like, I could go to jail, but I wouldn't want to mess up your outing.
Right.
Oh dear. Well, I hope they seem to have gotten over it somewhat. Do not be meeting Turner in some dark corner someplace, George. We're all most unhappy.
Well, then we did the big finale of this episode was Mr. Edison turning on the lights at the New York Times building, which was just wonderful. That all the fancy people were in carriages with footmen serving them dinner and champagne, and the not fancy people were just milling around in the square, including Peggy. And it was really just a very cool moment to see. To see this happen. Yeah.
The little bit of history.
And Marian was feeling very left out.
She was. That was pretty
Even
brutal.
Peggy got to go, and she was stuck at home with the aunts who were falling asleep on the couch.
Right. And being busy to Bannister. Poor Marian. I think she has a little bit of heartbreak ahead. But she got to have a little... What is Mrs. Chamberlain like? Is the trysting place for forbidden couples? You'll come to her house and she'll just make herself scarce.
Yeah, well, she offered that option to Marian.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It just seems like such a strange thing.
Right. And she'll leave you alone, but not for too long. And then she'll pop back in.
Does she have a bedroom they could use? I mean, how far does this service go?
No, I don't think she would.
They could just have impassioned chats in the parlor, amongst the artwork,
by the digger.
And then they get luncheon, and then they can have one more chat, and then they must leave.
Then they have to go.
Yes, this is the way they do it. Today we have, online dating and Bumble and what all, and then they had Mrs. Chamberlain. She'll make a match for you, and then we had Larry, right?
Yes,
Larry
Russell.
Pursuing his attempt to become an architect.
His dream to be an architect.
And not allowing Stanford White to help him out in persuading his father, just plunging right through to, no, I'm not going to coach this in any sort of nice language that my dad will buy.
Right.
I want this. And his dad says no. But later he comes back with a better pitch, which is, oh man, I could never be as good as you, Dad. I could never be as much of a genius as you. Right. How could I possibly live up to somebody as wonderful and smart and dynamic as you, Pop? Let me go do this other little thing so I don't embarrass you.
Right.
And that
is a fairly effective argument.
It really is a good argument, So you could see George could kind of appreciate. Yeah.
The wheels were turning. Yes.
you got something there, kid. I don't know if the kid should be too happy to have been successful in that. dad didn't say, what are you talking about, son? You're brilliant. He's like, yeah, you have a point. Okay, go off and do your little thing.
Do your little thing.
Oh, my. Well, good luck to him.
Uh-huh.
Make your own way.
Yes.
So, what do we have ahead, do you suppose? Well, I know one thing we have ahead. I'm just going to take a guess and say that the next episode involves somebody going to Newport.
Uh-huh.
And indeed, the episode, look at this. The name of the episode is Tucked Up in Newport.
There you go.
We are going to watch that. And since As We See It has been seen for this season, we are going to watch a second episode of The Gilded Age and finish that one off too. The last episode of the season is titled Let the Tournament Begin.
Oh,
I thought we had had a tournament all along, but apparently there's another tournament and we don't get to see it because it's going to be going on in the off season. But surely they'll be back.
Yes.
Riding their expensive carriages into our lives at some future date in their big dresses.
I will look forward to
that. But right now,
that.
all the actresses just need to lie down for a while and eat chocolates.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Take a deep, deep breath.
Really enjoy being able to take a deep, deep breath. Well, anything else we need to say about the Gilded Age here?
I don't think so. We didn't spend much time on Peggy this week. But she still is having success at the New York Globe newspaper with the very attractive editor.
Yes.
So good for her. Go Peggy.
Right. Less time to be down in the servants' quarters with the unpleasant
lady's maid.
Yeah. Absolutely. And or arguing with her father.
Right.
So, well, I guess that will be it for round 2 today then. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.